Well, there was that time where there was like that weird, creepy like tweets that were going around, and it's like age preferences for different members. And I think one I saw was like BTS, and they were just like, yeah, Yoongi's age preference, and it was like 17. I was like, 17?
No, that is not a man that would do that.
He is not trying to catch a case.
He would not be doing that.
And the sad thing is that people are like, oh my God, that's me. You're like, oh wow, I'm just 1 year younger. And I'm like, you do realize that this has to be like a 17-year-old fan making this, right? Like this is
Like,
not based
not
in reality or facts. Like this man is a grown man.
Hello and welcome to the Krazecast, the podcast run by the fans for the fans that brings you close to the action. My name is Roxy, and today I'm joined by my fellow host Jay, as well as our guest, the host of Not Your Average Fangirls podcast.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. We are Not Your Average Fangirls. I guess we'll go in order like we always do. I'm Kat. Hello.
Hey guys, it's Cynthia.
Hello, everyone. It's Terica.
And this is Carolina. Thank you so much, the Krazecast, for having us on your podcast. We're excited.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Yay, finally collab.
I know.
I know. I love it.
Okay. To keep up with all our content, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at KrazeMag, and YouTube, The Kraze.
If you enjoy our content, please consider helping to support our organization through Ko-Fi. Our team is 100% volunteer-based, so any donation helps us a great deal. Head over to kofi.com/thekraze where you can donate however much you please, and we thank you so much ahead of time for your support.
And if you are watching this on YouTube, before we begin, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for instant notifications for whenever we upload. When we do our YouTube channel, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and catch our next episode or any of our little other videos that we have. But yeah, today we have Not Your Average Fangirls here on the podcast today, and we are so excited to have them here. Just before we get into it a little bit even more, you know, Not Your Average Fangirls, another podcast. We met them during the K-pop podcast festival like 2 years ago, and so we're here, and we've always wanted to collab, so here we are. And yeah, we're here. If you guys want to tell our listeners and our viewers what Not Your Average Fangirls is about for your podcast, plug, do all that good stuff.
I guess I can tell you what it's about, and then Carolina will do the plugging. She's good at that part. So we're basically a weekly news outlet, I guess, technically, for K-pop. We cover news, comebacks. We're even diving into J-pop if anyone's interested in it. We just I like to say we're an audio version of Stan Twitter. We just talk about all the gossip, all the chisme, and all the comebacks, and it's a lot of fun. We want to make you feel like you're talking about K-pop with your homies, like with your friends. And I think that's kind of like our goal and the achievement we hope to get to when you listen to us. Yay!
Yes. So we post every Tuesday, and you can find us on any podcast platform that you listen podcasts on. So Spotify, Apple, iHeart, anything. But you can find us. All of our social media is at NYAFangirls. That's Twitter, Instagram, on YouTube. We also post reaction videos and just fun little like creative videos and projects on YouTube. So again, that's at NYAFangirls. You can find us everywhere with that tag. And don't feel like scared to reach out to us about new groups or comebacks or whatever. If you saw, like, we literally will go and fangirl with you. Like, that's like Kat said, we're just Stan Twitter on an audio form. So yeah.
Thank you. Listen, if you're not listening to Not Your Average Fangirls, they're funny as well. They're super funny.
Thank you.
They're super funny. Like, honestly, your BTS concert story still makes me laugh. And that was a guest episode of another podcast too. That one still makes me laugh. But anyways, Roxy,
I'm glad our pain is amusing.
Listen, sometimes you gotta fight though, okay? Sometimes it just happens.
It's true.
Roxy, do you want to introduce our topic for today?
Sure. So we just thought that we would kind of dive into age in K-pop in the sense of like, at least me, I'm fucking old.
All of us.
Considering.
All of us. I think all of us are.
Just to talk about experiences in like K-pop stan world as at our age, because I think we've touched on stuff before about how it can be a weird situation, especially when, you know, younger children are involved and when they're on social media. So we just thought we'd dive into that a little bit.
And just to put some further insight, this is a topic that we talked about with our good friends from the K-pop cast. They have a weekly K-pop chat. So you'll see a circulation of us in those particular chats. And this is a topic that we talked about there. So shout out to K-pop chat and the K-pop cast for introducing this topic. But yes, all of us, we are the quote unquote hag fans.
Proud.
Yes.
Right.
So it's just like, we just wanted to talk about age in general, and just like, yesterday I was scrolling through the timeline and I was just like, oh, throwback to the second gen of just reminiscing of all of these things. And I'm just like, God, I'm old in K-pop.
Honestly, that's how I feel at times. That like, so like I got into K-pop in 2010, but I didn't really get into fandom and things like that until maybe like late 2015. So, but I think back to that and I'm just like, when people are doing all these like new things with like streaming and like, I don't even know, like, hey, like we're gonna do a donation thing for this comeback. I was just like, I kind of miss like old days when people would just be like, yo, I bought this album and that's it. Like, woo, like,
and now they pressure you to buy everything. Like, you have to, if you're not streaming constantly, then you're like not a fan. I'm like, I work two jobs. I don't have time to be streaming.
I feel that. I've actually seen people say that though. It's just like, well, I go to school full time and I do this and I still make time to like stream at least 6 hours a day. I'm like, what? Like,
6 hours? Where do you get 6 hours?
Like, yeah. I was like, that's what? No.
You must not. You don't have to cook yourself dinner. You don't have to like. You don't have to work a job from 9 to 5.
Yep.
Like,
probably not. No.
I mean, kudos to them, but I just, I'm old. And I don't have the time or the patience. Like or
the stamina. I don't got the stamina for that no more.
Oh, my knees can't handle some of these things anymore.
Can't even get down to pick something up without my knees going.
No. Like, I am not making a stallion. My knees are not like they used to be. Okay, we're not. No,
can't do this.
Yeah, but it's just weird to me though when people like come at fans for being a certain age and being kind of like, oh, like, well, why are you even on Stan Twitter instead of like working and taking care of your family? I'm just like, you do understand that like your likes and your interests don't just go away once you hit a certain age. Like and also the thing that we always say is the idols that you are looking at and like thirsting over and doing all this thing for, like, we're literally the same age.
Exactly.
The same age as them.
Same age.
So why is it that it's okay them like, oh no, like, yeah, oh, he's so hot, look at my, like, whatever, look at my girl, like, look, but they're literally our same age and then they go after us like, oh, you're a hag fan, get out of the fandom. Like, what?
And like also just like not to like really step into Delulu land, but it's just like, you do know that because we're closer in age, more likely to date.
It's gonna be anyone, it's us, not y'all.
Exactly. Not y'all. Well, there was that time where there was like that weird creepy like tweets that were going around and it's like age preferences for different members. And I think one I saw was like BTS and they were just like, yeah, Yoongi's age preference, and it was like 17. I was like, 17?
No.
That is not a man that would do that.
He is not trying to catch a case.
He would not be doing that.
And the sad thing is when people are like, oh my God, that's me. You're like, oh wow, I'm just 1 year younger. And I'm like, you do realize that this has to be like a 17-year-old fan making this, right? Like this is
Like,
not based
not
in reality or facts. Like this man is a grown man. He's not checking for
I
a
do
high
wonder if
school
they
junior.
don't get like that's illegal.
Yeah.
That too.
Very illegal.
And also very weird. It's very weird.
Yeah, he's 28. He's my age. He's not going to be going after anybody that's 17.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Like, it makes no sense. So for me, like at times, I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, I don't go out there and tell people like, hey, you're too young to be listening to this. I'm just like,
Exactly.
like go
Yeah.
enjoy whatever you enjoy and call it a day.
Or even
what
the
you like.
opposite. When I was like younger in fandom, like when I was like thirsting over NSYNC and I was like in the 6th grade, I wasn't like telling people like who were the same age as them, like, you're too old to like them. Like, I respected my position. I am in the 6th grade. I am here. And yes, I think that Justin Timberlake is fine, but I'm going to go and I'm going to enjoy the music and I'm going to be here at this concert. And I think it's cool that these girls are older and that they get to be in the front and I have to sit here with my mom, but it's fine. I got to go to the show. Like, never once did I ever like shame other people for being older or being the same age as like the group members. So that's why I always think it's weird, because now that I'm on the other side, I was like, I know I didn't do this when I was younger in fandom. Like, what is this trend? This is weird.
It seems like a very online take. Like,
yeah,
with the prevalence of social media coming up, I feel like I don't know if these kids are just like not fulfilled in their life, but they always seem to want to be picking fights for no reason. And like not mind their business. So
at all. They do not believe in that. They're just like, I'm sticking my nose in everything and I'm commenting on everything, even if I don't know anything.
Like, shouldn't you be in school? Can you touch some grass, please?
Like,
I think the only thing that
honestly.
like allows them to do that is their ass can't be beat for it. Because like we can't find them and beat their ass. So, like, if you talk shit in high school to other people, somebody could put you in your place for it. But when you're online, you can say whatever you want and nobody can do anything about it.
I want to find a teenager almost every day, and I'm like, damn, if I didn't have to go to jail for this, you and me would.
Yeah, they say the most out of pocket stuff, and then when you're like ready to go at them, you're like, I'm a minor. You're like, God dang it. God.
Like that I'm a minor.
Not that
I'm a minor.
But also at the same time, like also going into like the whole thing about a younger generation is like, I can afford my own things without having to ask anybody else, you know? And it's just like, so kind of don't come at me because I don't have to ask for help to get something that I want. Like are there people who do earn their own money? Like, are there younger people? Yes, of course, not disqualifying any of them, but it's just like, I didn't have to ask. Even back then when I was a younger fan, like when I first got into them, my early 20s, I didn't ask for help either. Like, I saved my allowance that I was just like, I'm making sure I save enough to go to this concert or go to this convention because my parents are not going to help me. That's it. Whereas these kids nowadays, it's just like, Mom, Dad, everybody want to go.
It's crazy. I'm like, how are y'all affording to get into like 12 fan signs a week? Like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, your parents' pockets must be full. Because
leave Mark alone.
Poor Mark, always traumatized.
That poor man.
Or even just the timing, because like, we have work and we have to like, you know, if we have vacation, we can like put in our time to be off, but like, literally, if I have the time to be off, or even if I want to call in sick, I can do that and not worry about it, as opposed to like, dang, this concert's on a Wednesday. Like, how am I going to fly to LA and then miss school? And then even if I miss school, now I have to do like my assignments and I have to ask my mom if I can miss school for a concert. Like, literally, they drop a date and I have the money. I can buy the ticket and be like, oh, it's on a Thursday. Okay, cool, whatever.
That's legit what I did for ATs. It's like, oh, it's a Monday. Well, I guess I'm taking some time off work.
That was me for
PTO.
It's funny because I'm at the point right now that because of BTS, like I'm using my last PTO time on this BTS trip. So then I was just like, there's an emergency or something happens, I'm just going to have to take the L and just call out of work and just not get paid because there's no more time left over.
Yeah. And it's just like, I want to go to all of your dates, but at the same time, it's just like, wait, I got to earn money. Like, so I can afford the next tours that are going to come out.
That reminds me of the Love Yourself tour in 2018. I went to the Newark shows, and that was when they had the general admission. And the first person in line had been camping there for like a week straight. And I was like, how do you have the time to sit there for 7 days to make sure that you're first in line?
I mean, I've never done 7 days, but I've done a solid 3 or 4. But again, like, well, we had more time to plan then. Like, I feel like when they dropped everything, it was kind of like, okay, here, tickets go on sale tomorrow, but the tour's not for another 8 months. So I was like, okay, well, I have time to like save up my time and stuff like that. But yeah, I think just being an older fan, kind of like, there are limitations, of course, because like work and everything, but I think it does grant us more of a freedom to be able to do these things and buy the merch that we want to, or like, you know what I mean, like, as opposed to having, and like you said, there are people like younger people that earn their own money and things like that, but still at the end of the day, like, even if you earn your own money, you might have a parent that's like, yeah, I know you have a job, but like, did you really spend $60 on on an NCT mug? Like, why did you do that? Whereas if I spend $60 on an NCT mug, the only person that I'm questioning that is me. Like, why?
Right. Right. It's just like, did I just really do this?
I did.
It's honestly, and with the pandemic, there were so many pandemic buys that afterwards I got them, like, like 15 months later I got it, and I'm just like, when did I buy this and why did I buy it?
I'm guilty of that. I'm like, oops, I bought way too much stuff that I technically don't need, but
it made me happy.
That email that, hey, the last payment of this group order is next week. I'm like, what is
yeah.
Which one?
What did I oh God.
Yeah, and it goes to, it's like, we don't technically also have to, like, we have obviously our own cards and everything. We don't have to ask our parents, like, hey, I want to join this. Can you help me? Stuff like that. And it's just like, we can afford with our age, and it's just like, so don't put us down for that. And that's just the other perk, and I'm sure all you ladies could agree, at concerts, what can we do? We can drink.
Yes.
We can all drink.
That makes it so much more fun, dude. I went to Super M by myself, and I was having the greatest time because I could have like 2 vodkas.
Best thing. It's the best thing. God. It really is. I remember for GOT7 one year, I was like feeling really bad, so I got out of the pit and I was on the side of the stage. I got a drink, and Mark came over and he looked at me and he was like, "I see you with that drink," and I was like,
"Yes, I'm old."
My life.
Cynthia and I literally went to a bar before we went to go see TXT. We're like, we're just gonna be like the tipsy aunties in the crowd. It's gonna be great. So
we literally pre-gamed before TXT show.
That's a mood, dude. That is my life. My brother and his wife are gonna have kids. I'll be showing up with the vodka.
Mood.
Oh my God, for BTS too, we took shots because we specifically planned to go to Namjoon's the show for Namjoon's birthday. Right. And so we took shots for his birthday on his behalf before the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm wondering how strong are we gonna pregame for BTS? Me and my girlfriends are just like,
It has been so long since an event, it's time.
Yes. Yeah, honestly. Anyways, bringing it back to the topic of age and K-pop, it's just like, come on, why are you picking fights? Honestly, why? It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Really doesn't make sense. Because it's just like, dude, we're minding our own business.
That's the thing that gets me. Like, we literally are minding our own business, liking the whatever groups that we like, but you always have the one, the younger people that are just like, why are you even doing this? Why are you even retweeting this? Why are you even liking this? Like, you go get a job. And I'm just like, but I do. And that's why I can do these things, because I got a job and I have my own life. Like, I don't have to depend on other people. But I think it's weird though. Like, I feel like this is like a recent thing that's been happening, because I don't remember, even though I was not like super in fandom back in like 2010, but I feel like this was not the case back then. Like, people didn't care about like what your age was or like whatever, as long as you supported the artist. And I feel like now a lot of like the younger fans put like conditions into like how you can like a group, or why should you like a group, or why you shouldn't like a group. And like, that was never something I even thought about it. I'm just like, listen, if fulanito likes so-and-so group, then so be it. Like, who am I to tell them that they can't enjoy this group? Like, maybe I think that they're trash, okay? But that's their opinion if they want to, like, support them. So I just don't know where all of these, like, conditions and regulations for liking a group came in. Like, do we have to sign a terms of and things? Like, I don't get it.
I've seen that too. Like, I saw one person like celebrate, like, I forgot what group it was, but they got an award for some like music show or something, and someone was just like, wow, like, congratulations, like, we all worked so hard to do this, like, and or they retweeted something, and someone came at them and was just like, well, first of all, did you vote? Did you stream? And that person was like, oh, I didn't have time to do it and stuff like this go around. And they were just like, okay, well, then you shouldn't be like congratulating them, or you shouldn't be saying we did this because you didn't do anything. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, are you even a fan? And like the girl, I don't know how old this person was. Maybe they were older, I don't know. But they were just like, block. Like, you could see where it was just like no longer, like, you could see the thread end. But I was like, that's so weird. Like, piggybacking off of Carolina's conditions, I'm like, who are you to say like someone's not a real fan because of their age or like their job status, or whether they have time to vote, or like if they didn't buy like every version of the last album that came out? I'm like, everything seems very like you have to do X, Y, Z or you're out, or you have to be X, Y, Z or you're out. And I'm like,
yeah,
Jesus.
It seems like a more recent development, honestly, because like I joined fandom in like 2015 and I don't remember it being like this. And I was like, I was in like the BTS fandom, and it was still like people did those like follow sprees. And like, I remember one time I ended up following someone and they were like, yeah, I'm 14. I was like, what? All right. But like, it was never an issue. And I don't know what has happened. Even I feel like it's just exacerbated over the pandemic too.
Yeah, and I feel like it just takes the fun out of being a fan. Like, if you're gonna be like that and be so uptight, it's just like you ruin the fun for everybody else. K-pop is like, this is supposed to be something that brings you happiness and joy. It shouldn't necessarily be a job for you, like where you have to do all of this, like you have to stream, you have to buy this, and it's just like, you don't have to. No one, like, it's just like no one has a barrel down your head. Nope. And it's just like, you have to do this. Like, no, like, let people have the fun that they want to have, like what they can do within their capacity to be a fan. Exactly. And like, why shame somebody? It's like, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And I'm just like, I don't have the time, first of all. And I don't have the time to be talking to you about this, but it's just like,
and that's a prime example. Like, it happened with SHINee for their I think it was their latest comeback, when for all of them, that people, like the younger fans, were coming at Shaols that like, this is why they're not famous, because you guys are not voting and you guys are not streaming. And I'm just like, I was just like, reel it back. Did you just hear what you said?
What do you mean not famous?
SHINee's not famous?
They're just like, SHINee's not famous. I'm just like, no, they're not famous. They're iconic. Like, they are the group. You can ask anybody and they will know SHINee. Okay, like
they are legendary amongst
exactly. I would be like K-pop, the world, honestly.
I would be like, bro, don't even talk to me. You weren't even here for it. Like,
right? You weren't even there.
You were not here when Minho looked like a mop. I was.
Oh, man. But I mean, his long hair was okay. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, he looked great, but he did look like a mop. A sexy mop.
Yeah, but like, he could do it because he's Minho.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He was a great looking mop.
Yeah. Like, I was just like, I want that mop at my house. Yeah.
But I truly wonder when this started and why it started. Because like you were saying, in 2015, like I had like a couple of my friends or mutuals were younger, and it was cool because like they were in high school and they would like ask me questions and they're like, are you going to be at the show? Like, my parents want me to know someone there. Or like, it was kind of like, I got to see them grow up. Like, one of them is like in college now. I'm like, oh my God. And like, it wasn't weird. Like, because it was like kind of like a big sister types like friendship or whatever. Like her parents were like, okay, cool, we know who you are, things like that. Or like whenever she was at the show, it was her first show. I had been to a million because I'm a hag, and I was able to like tell her, okay, make sure you take this. Okay, are you gonna have this? Do this. And it was like, it was cool. Like it was a good, like it wasn't a weird or creepy. She was never like, ew, why are you talking to me? You're old. And I was never like, ew, like why are you even here? You're like 16. Like we helped each other type of thing. Like I made sure that like when she was buying a ticket, like I was like, okay, let's see if this is legit. Like, cause she was new to fandom. So I wonder when that shift started from that welcoming everyone of all ages and helping each other out to like, oh, you're 19, now you're old. Because even like on TikTok, people were like, yeah, the hag side of TikTok, people who were born in like 98. I was like, 98?
98?
I saw a TikTok where someone said that, and the guy was born in like 89, and he was like, so does that mean I'm dead? He was like, what? Like,
I'm
what
saying.
Yeah. And I was like, woof. It's crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Like, I just can't even imagine. It's just like, where have we come? You know, it's just like, remember when social media used to be a lot more chill?
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember when it was fun. It's not really
Yes.
fun anymore.
It's not fun anymore.
It's not. I will see like so many like fandom wars going on, and I'm just like, what is happening? Like, this is not a high school classroom. Like, why are y'all starting so much drama? And like, as the hag fans, like we don't get involved. We're like living our lives quite literally, and like
Honestly,
enjoying our groups. And people are just like, why aren't you saying anything? And I'm like, because I don't care.
Because it's stupid. That's why.
Yeah. I just don't care.
Like, if anything, you'll see me. I'm just gonna be watching in the background with my popcorn while
everybody
just like, okay.
Like, but I don't get it. It's like, and oh, go ahead, Kat.
No, I was saying we're literally like the old ladies on their porch, like drinking coffee, watching the
like
in the
everything
rocking
crash
chair.
and burn. Yeah, the rocking chair.
Just like, you kids get off my lawn. Fight over there.
Fight over there, not here. But that's me. Like, I'm at the point that like I'm obviously in fandom and I'm like heavily like on Twitter and stuff like that. But like example is like prime example is NCT. There's always something going on, but I'm just like tuning it out. I'm just like, I am not paying attention because I know that it's something stupid, and it usually always is. So I don't understand why there's so much hate for older fans for no reason, really. B, also, I don't understand why there's so many fights lately in every fandom for XYZ reason. And it takes out the fun out of K-pop. Like, why are y'all taking it so seriously?
Yeah, it's not that deep. Like, we all love
it's just K-pop.
Yeah,
it's just K-pop, y'all.
And we say this all the time, and even we have with the podcast and everything, and we're heavily like in K-pop, but we say this all the time. It's just K-pop. It is not something that you should be like dying over or doing extra things and like causing yourself stress. Like, there is no reason for that. Like, these idols are gonna make money no matter what. If you cancel them, if you don't, like, they will still probably have a career. Like, and the thing is that a lot of people will just cancel them for like stupid things, not even like legit things, so, but that's another topic. But
I truly think NCT was the first fandom that I was a part of that like my age was like a deal for people, because I'm a huge NCT Dream fan. Okay, like massive NCT Dream fan. Woo! And I say they're like my children. Like, I saw them grow up. I was like a stan since SM Rookies. Like, I saw them like evolve into like what they are, and I'm just like so like, oh my god, NCT Dream.
Wait, can I piggyback off of that once you're done? Sorry.
Yes. So once like I got into like these group chats about NCT, like these group DMs, they're like, oh my god, yes, group DM. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I love NCT Dream. Woo! They're like, oh yeah, I'm 15. My bias is Jamin. And I'm like, I'm 28 and I love Jamin. Jamin is my child. Love him, adore him. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, there's something wrong with me loving NCT Dream. I'm so sad. And it made me like question. I was like, is this weird that I'm like into NCT Dream? But then I was like, nah, I'm living chewing gum for life. Yeah.
Exactly.
Girl.
They make amazing music. Why not?
They
Love
do.
Just to piggyback off of that, also speaking of age, find it super weird. We're older, obviously understand. So all of the newer groups like NYAFangirls and all of them, young children, little children. So it's natural for all of us to say, oh, that's my son. That's my little brother, right? That's for us. See, it's so weird to see younger like fans who are like similar age, like, oh, that's my son. I'm like, you're like 3 years older than him. Stop.
Yeah.
Please. He could quite literally be my child. Like, stop.
Yes, exactly. I was just like, can we not do that? Like, just say, oh, that's my little brother. That I'd feel a lot more comfortable for you to say it like that rather than that's my son. I'm like,
no, the thing that gets me is like NYAFangirls or like all these younger groups that are like, oh, that's my son. And then I see people on my timeline like, oh my God, he's so hot. And I'm like, wait, no, wait.
It's 14. But then you realize that like the girl that's saying it is like 13.
Like 15.
And you're like, oh, makes sense. But you're like,
but at the same time, how are you supposed to know some of their age? Because a lot of them hide behind their favorite or their biases picture. So it's just like,
you never can tell.
I can't tell sometimes. So it's just like, okay.
For NYAFangirls specifically, I do have a son and he is adorable. It's Nikki. Hey baby. And he's a little baby. And when we react, for example, some people will comment on it, be like, oh my God, Nikki's so hard. Like, oh my God, he's older than me. I'm like, what? Like, okay, my son is bagging these hoes and I love it. Just wanted to put that out there.
It makes me think though, because like some of these people will say like you can't like these groups or you can't like these people because they're minors, and it's like people don't understand that you cannot sexualize an idol and still like be a fan of the idol.
Exactly. Yep.
And it's like just because you can't make that differentiation doesn't mean I can't, and like I can have a son and not be attracted to him. Like it's, you can be a fan of someone and not be attracted to them.
Exactly.
Yes. There's a prime example too for another son that I have and Kat. So we have been fans of Victon since they debuted. And when they debuted, Subin, the maknae, was like probably, I don't know how old he was when he debuted, but we've known him since he was 16. So to us, even now that he's like in his 20s, we still see him as like that 16-year-old and we like love and adore him. So when we say stuff like on our videos, be like, Subin, stop doing that, because like that's just like how our banter is. And people will comment and say like, oh, well, Subin's not a minor. We can think he's hot. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, you can, but we don't. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like when we're like us being older fans, it's just like, listen, once we're introduced to somebody, we see them for who their age is forever. Like Mark from
I was like, no.
Yeah.
But wait.
No. Tape is bad. But like for Mark from NCT, like for the longest time, I was like, that's my little brother right there. And he'll still forever be my little brother, even though we're not that far apart in age. But it's just like, that's my little brother. Leave me alone.
When I see teenagers like sexualizing him, it freaks me out because I'm like, I remember like NCTU Mark, debut Mark. He was 5 when they put him on stage. Like, I can't.
But now Mark changed. Okay, there was a point in time that it like switched.
Mark for me was like my like best friend's little brother that like was adorable and now kind of got attractive, and you're like, I cannot look at you like this. Leave me alone.
He went through puberty. It's over.
That's Cynthia's story though. From Cynthia did not She was just like, oh, look at Mark, he's so cute. And then there was a turning
Okay,
point.
but I didn't find him cute like a little brother cute though. I was always like, oh, that's like my best friend. And he was just like that funny best friend that I've known forever. And then he got hot. Like that's different.
Like, when did this happen without my consent?
Yeah,
Right.
I wasn't into NCT like during like I always listen to their music, but I'm still not even fully in NCT like mess. But I know more members now because the girls do like military runs on me about them. But I wasn't into them when Mark debuted, and I don't like cute stuff, so I was not in NCT Dream World. So for me, all of the NCT members are like kind of like are barely getting introduced to me.
Yeah,
as they are.
But she knows Mark.
One thing I did want to bring up, something that I wouldn't call it an advantage per se, but I guess more experience. What is some things that newer fans are never going to experience that we have experienced? For example, me, Hello Baby. Fans will never understand Hello Baby in that time. And it's just like,
one thing that I feel like they'll never understand is the fact that we didn't have access to things as easily as it is today.
Yeah.
Like they won't understand the struggle. Like I know so many fans that get mad when it's just like, oh my God, this isn't subbed in like 3 seconds of the video being out. And I'm just sitting here like, so y'all would not have survived the days that we had to go onto like Chinese websites and like undercover websites to download videos. And it was a video of like 10-minute video, but it was 28 parts. Because you can only watch like 30 seconds at a time, or it was like a video playing and then the video inside a video, so the tiny screen was
tiny.
It was like 144p.
There was
resolution.
no subtitles. Like literally, you were going there to watch it for
just
the vibes.
Just and the vibes.
That's it. That's
the whole
it.
When they laugh, you laugh thing. You don't know what's going on. They just like
like so you can get it.
And those are things that they will never understand. Like the access to K-pop now is so much easier than before. And also, I think something that they missed out on is like the interactive TV shows that there used to be. Like, you know, like We Got Married, or the one that it was like a bunch of idols going together and doing different like I always remember this show just because A. Lee gave Hyunsik like a lap dance. And to this day I think about that because that's how I got into a freaking Hyunsik. I was just like, who is this man and why he's so fine? Like like how can I be A. Lee also giving him a lip, you know, like, but it's like I feel like that's an experience that won't happen in K-pop anymore because a lot of fans are more quote unquote entitled with their idols. Like even if they see a woman idol and a man idol interacting, they automatically are just like, why are you talking to this bitch? Like, why are you talking to this girl? Like, why are you talking to this? Like, I think that we lost on that. And people are always just like, oh my God, but I want to see them collab. I want to whatever. And I'm just like, well, no, because now for any idol that does interact with any other idol, it becomes a huge mess at times. And I feel like that's something that newer fans won't be able to like get. They won't be able to get those interactions, those collaborations of the girl groups with the boy groups. Like those were iconic. And I mean, the TV commercial with 2 PM and Girls' Generation, like things like that.
That would not fly today. People would be up in arms if that ever happened again.
I feel like it just feeds into the Delulu. Like that they don't let this happen, which makes everything worse.
Exactly. Pretty much.
For me, I think it's depending on the group that you're into. Like for us, maybe with like BTS or GOT7, I feel like they're missing out on like the growing pains that we went through together because we were a similar age. So like like we understood where they were at that time because we were there at that time too. So if there was any like, oh well, Jackson seemed like he was off this day, I'm like, bro, me too. Like I have those days. Like we went through those growing pains with them, specifically with like GOT7 and BTS, because I feel like in the height of my standing, those two, we were in like a part of our like age where we were becoming adults, and it's such a weird like time in your life, and people will understand when they get to there. Like everyone know, like all of us, we understand. Like it's a really odd time in your life, separating yourself from your youth to your adulthood. So it was really cool to be able to see people publicly kind of go through it, and me being like, oh, well, like they understand what I'm going through. I understand what they're going through. So like that like synergy and that respect for one another in those situations, I think really made me a bigger stan of those groups, because like like you understand differently when you're like at the same age as somebody, or you're going through the same kind of growing pains with someone. You bond with them in a different way, even if it isn't like a friend. Like I know GOT7 don't know me, and they're not like, oh my god, yeah, we bonded. But I think like you as a fan, it's a different like level when you're like going through the same thing as an artist, or going through the same thing as a group does. So I think that is something they're missing out on, and maybe not, because they could be standing a group that's of their similar age right now. And I hope that for everyone, because I felt like standing someone that was my age, or standing a group that was around my age, really made me connect as a stan more. So I really hope that for everyone. But I think that's one thing they missed out on. If they are like a BTS or like a GOT7 stan that is younger, you like, that's something that they probably didn't have the same like feelings that we did at that time, you know? So
that reminds me too. I miss when like BTS and GOT7 would do things together.
Same.
Same.
That was like the best time in my life. I was so excited to see them like hanging out and having a good time. I feel like the saddest thing to me with BTS now is I feel like they can't, like, specifically in Korea, they can't like show who they're hanging out with, because like somebody's gonna lose their shit about it.
Yep.
And I feel like we have, for like, it's been years since we've seen them like hang out with people and have
friends,
a good time.
Being with friends.
It feels almost, it makes me disconnect a little bit, because I feel like they lost the ability to like be themselves somewhat.
Yeah. And I like thinking about that, like going back to like the shows, we had a lot of, back then, we had a lot of interaction of both genders, you know? And so it's just like, you can't just do anything nowadays and have a friend group nowadays, even just as a friend group. Like I was looking at it like, who's a group that, the 88 group, there was like the 91 line, having all of those types of like age group friends, like they all, like, especially because they're so particular about certain ages back then, that it's just like you don't get to see them hang out like this anymore. Like we know it exists, but they can't go out in public anymore without people like either swarming where they're at, or just like inciting any type of rumors. So it's just like I kind of miss those days where we had a lot of interaction. Like for sure, it's just like you can't have all of these things, but having them on shows like this, it built a lot of character for them, and they kind of related to it. Like, not to say that they don't relate till this day, but back then it's just like, no, we're in knee deep into this tough industry and we're on this show together. We get it. We are there together. We're doing this together because I'm going through what you're going through too.
Exactly.
To survive.
I think like, especially like those group, like from different groups and things like that, like that's also good in the sense of like, oh, my idol is friends with so and so, I don't know so and so, maybe I'll look into them. So I feel like, you know, people would be more open to getting into more groups. And I feel like back then, something that was just unique about it is that like people wanted that. Like we wanted, I mean, here we are talking about God Bangtan, like that is my favorite. I love seeing them interact. Like the other day it came up the pictures of when like BTS won in 2016, like their first Daesang, like, and Yugyeom was hugging Cookie, and you could feel like, I feel like they think that they can't show their friendship anymore because fans would be mad, like, oh, you're just using them for your like clout and things like that. And I'm like, that's not it. Like that's friendship. Like friendship is friendship. Like I don't care if you got one follower or a million, like you're my friend. So I feel like now we're missing out more on that side, that back then they were more like open about their relationship with other idols and things like that. Obviously, like romantic relationships have always been like taboo, but in the terms of friends and things like that, I feel like back then it was just so much more open than what it is now, and that's one thing that I miss.
Yeah, I just don't understand the animosity towards being friends with someone. Like, it never really clicked with me. Maybe because like we're older, like we understand like friends are friends. I mean, I feel like everyone should understand that regardless of age. But I also think like if people were able to see their idols interact with other idols, that it would make fandom so much more enjoyable. Like fandoms would actually get along.
Yeah, it would be less animosity. And I feel like people also forget that like you can be friends with the opposite sex and not be attracted to them. So like half the reason there's an issue here is that anytime like a boy group member hangs out with a girl, they're like, oh my God, they're dating. I'm like, why would you even start with that? Like,
well, sometimes
I'm sure you have friends that you're not attracted to that are of the opposite gender. It doesn't have to be like that. And because people jump to that conclusion, we don't get to see it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also because slightly to blame the shows that they go on, right? When they're like, and they perpetuate that, ooh, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, stuff like that, when it's just like, chill. And that's why sometimes, like, when I watch back on some shows like that, it's just like, there needs to be an even distribution of male to female idols if they're going to be on the show. Don't just bring 1 or 2 members from a girl group and there's going to be like 5 male groups or 5 male members, you know. It's just like even distribution. Need this to come back, or else it's not going to fly. It's not going to work, unfortunately. Like,
yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, and it's like I miss like the friend, like Caroline was saying, Yu-Gi-Oh and like Jungkook. But then you have so many like best friend pairings, like Kai and Taemin. No one hates Kai and Taemin together. Like, everyone loves Kai and Taemin. Why can't that be just like a constant throughout? Like, everyone's like, oh my God, we need a subunit of the best friends, Kai, Taemin, and Ravi and Jimin. And like, that's my dream subunit. Like, if that ever happened, I would die. So it's like, what? Why is that so bad to have friends that are doing the same thing as you? They probably understand them better than anyone else. Why would you prohibit your favorite artist from like feeling that kinship with someone? Like, that's what blows my mind. Like, I'm like,
and it's the same with Mark Lee. He's friends with what's the girl that was on he was hosting with
Mina.
Yeah, so they're like really good friends, and yes, like we can joke about and be like, oh, they look cute together, but you can tell that they literally are like they're really good friends. But I feel like at times too, like fans made it weird for them because they were always just be like, ooh, like she got this and she got that. I'm like, so what? Like, if he's one of my good friends, like, yes, I'm gonna know things about him and things that he likes, and you know, he likes watermelon. I'm gonna give him a watermelon, you know. It's just like little things like that, like that just make me think back and being like, it like back then it was just so much easier to like.
Yeah, and maybe it's like younger generation, like their lack of relationship with people of the opposite sex. Maybe, I don't know. Like, as older like K-pop fans or older like people in general, like I've had male friends my entire life. Like, I've never felt like, oh, this is a man friend, I must be attracted to you, date me. Like, no, it's never like been like that. So even it, like, I don't know, maybe because we're not in the generation, we like don't understand the fixation on male and females not being able to be friends. But yeah, the younger generation, especially with like the whole like shipping thing, like I see edits on Instagram and I'm like, what is going on?
It hurts. Yeah. It's so cringy.
I'm like,
that reminds me too of a situation. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Leo from VIX like posted a photo with Schumann.
Yes.
And he had to like fucking explain it and take it down. I was like, can
you
leave him alone?
Much. I wanted to cry. I was like, yeah.
Like, okay, like it's kind of just like, dude, like, not say we don't know preference, right? Keeping that in mind, we don't know preference. But if he does, if they have a relationship like that, who cares?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
leave
not our
it alone.
business.
Let it be what it is. Like, don't make a big deal. Don't make him have to talk about it. I wanted to die.
Weird.
I wanted to die when I saw the article where he had to like explain the photo. I was like, why the fuck would you all do that? Like, can you just like look at it and move on?
It's just like, oh, okay. Gotta scroll to the next photo.
Right.
You know,
What
hey,
I thought,
more power to you.
What I thought, I was just like, man, I bet you he was supposed to put that in his burner account and put it on his regular one. But see, like when you delete it, then that's when it becomes weird. I was just like, yeah, you should have just left it up, call it a day, keep it moving.
I will say though, like I think there is more of a shift that has been happening just from like the beginning of my stanness. I think that there's a shift in terms of dating that is more evident, at least maybe like for what I'm seeing anyway, as in there's more of a push that is happening for idols to be able to date. And I definitely think that more idols are publicly dating, not out of their like own free will, but I feel like that shift is in the making now, at least. And I definitely think that, you know, us hags definitely started it. Thank you. You're welcome.
For international fans, I think so. Yeah. Because
international fans. Yeah.
We want to see like cute pictures of y'all dating. Like, I want nothing more in life than to see Chen's wife and his baby. Like, that's like my goal.
Literally.
I want to see, like, my hag ass wants to see a cute baby. Like, I got baby fever. Give me pictures of children. Like, I want to see it. I want to see the babies. Like, Bobby and his wife and their baby. Like, give me everything. Like, one of my favorite Korean shows is that Return to Superman show, and it's because I just love children. Like, I love it. I love seeing it.
I was just like, don't you want to see our nieces and nephews? Come on.
Exactly. Please. Imagine like, the EXOs interacting with Chen's baby. Like, I want to see that.
Yeah, but they're all so mad at him for being married and having a kid. There's like a whole faction of people that are so pissed off that he has a life.
Have a child.
I know.
Literally, it makes no sense. I'm just like, listen, this is not your life to live. That's, I think, a thing that differentiates like younger fans versus like, you know, older fans. Like, we understand that they are human and they have a life to live. And like, we are just like, we are a fan. Yes, we support them, and yes, we like, quote unquote, put them where they are, but at the same time, like, we decided to be a fan. And if we're a fan, why are we bringing him down or her down? Like, why are we bringing the person that we are supposed to be a fan of down? Like, you don't have a say in their lives. Like, just because you decided to support them, that does not mean that that's a one-way ticket to being like, all right, I'm gonna manage your whole life. Like, no.
Yeah, you don't own them.
Yeah, you don't own them.
I think the biggest difference, and it's not all younger fans, I'm not going to say it's all younger fans, but the biggest difference between a majority of older fans and a majority of younger fans is that we respect the idols differently. Like, we understand, like, you are, like Carolina said, you're a human being. Like, they're going to get, just like we're going to go off and get married and have children, they're going to go off and get married and have children. Like, I saw the other day, and I shared it with Carolina, and we like almost cried, like a 17 stan getting married and using her light stick as her bouquet at her wedding. Like, that is so cute. Like, cute to me. Like, that's adorable. Like, I would do some shit like that. Like, and it's like, wow, like, I'm getting married. They're gonna get married. They're having kids. I'm gonna have children, maybe eventually. Who knows? But it's like that level of respect, like, wow, I'm really getting to grow with these idols, and it's amazing to see them grow. And I think it's so awesome. Like, when it announced that Chen was having a child, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Like, he's at that age, he's always wanted kids. Like, this is beautiful. Like, this is the best thing ever. And so many people are like, oh my God, look, the other day his second baby announcement got, and I saw a Korean fan say, oh my God, Chen is having another child. That means he had sex again. I'm so disappointed. I was like, ma'am,
as if they're not all the time anyway.
He is
first of all. Every time I see somebody like get mad about an idol, like either dating or like getting married, the only thought in my head is like, it was never going to be you. You know, that TikTok audio, it was never going to be you. So for you to be so like, that's why you're mad, is because it's not you. Because if it was you, you would be like trying to justify it.
But here's the thing too. Like, also, it's just like, you have to be really naive and ignorant to think that they're not letting off steam somewhere else.
Girl,
You know,
Exactly.
it's just like, I
Wait.
know, it's just like, hey, people have needs. They need to get that stuff done. You can't, like, are there some people who's like, I don't need it. I don't, want to do, like, you know what? That's not for me. Sure. But there are some people out there, it's just like physical need is a thing. Don't think that they're not behind the scenes,
doing it anyway.
The only reason you don't know is because they have NDAs.
Yeah,
literally.
That's it. That's the only reason you've never heard about this.
I'll sign one.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like for example, like when the stuff with Chen Yol got announced and like all that drama, like all I remember being like, wow, like everybody was just like, well, time to become a flight attendant.
That story is my favorite thing. It is so funny to me. I can't let it go.
Because the thing is that, like, no matter what, like, people were mad, but most of the fans were just like, so where's the sign-up sheet? Like,
right? I was like,
I mean, if
let me
like,
try.
saw that.
Let me get my hat in the ring. Let me see if it works.
Right?
and just be like, hi.
How about that? Hi, Chenyo. How's it going? I am a flight attendant.
suddenly putting in my application for Korean Air. Like, hello.
So yeah, so I think, but like Kat said earlier, I think it's just like the way that we respect like the idols is just different, and that might be just like a generation gap thing, but I just don't. Again, I don't know why it would be just such a big deal. I don't know
where like the disconnect started, basically, where you like stop seeing them as human beings, because they're super talented and they've been training their whole lives, and I could never do most of the things that they are able to do, but at the end of the day they're still humans, and so am I. And I think that is the biggest issue with some younger fans and some crazy older fans, is that they just stop seeing them as human beings and just like have them on this pedestal and have like this idea of them. And I've always said this, but that people love the idea of someone and then they forget that they're also a human being. Like that person that when you see them, they are clocked in. Do they enjoy what they do? Of course they do. That's why they're doing it. That's their passion and they've made it a job. But at the end of the day, it's still a job, and you have to remember that.
Yeah, and then that they're co-workers. They're not necessarily like, before their friendship comes the work. And that people need to understand, like a prime example of what's going on right now. Black Swan members, they're beefing right now.
They are bad.
But they're going to put their professional face on. They're going to get on that stage. They're going to perform their damn best. And you know what? They're going to give you a show. And then after that, once cameras are off, they're going back to like, I don't like you. Like, stay away from me. And that's going to happen. Like, you think that they're like, not all of them are friends behind the scenes. They just tolerate each other because they have to work with each other.
And that's fine too. Some members do become family. I understand that. But it is, that's your coworker.
I'll always remember 10. I'm pretty sure it was 10 in an interview. Was like, there's literally 23 members of NCT. You can't expect all of us to be best friends with each other. And it's quite literally that. Like, you can't expect everyone to be as close as one another. Now, was he saying that they all hate each other? No. But there's some members that probably don't hang out with other members as much just because the vibe is different. It's not like a connection. But there's nothing wrong with not being the best friends that these people want you to be. Like, you're like, oh, you have to love them. They're your members. It's like, I'm sure they love each other, but it's a very professional. Like, have I loved every coworker I've ever had in my life? Hell no. There has been some terrible people that I have worked with. But do I work with them because it's my job and it's what I have to do? Yes. And
I wonder if the disconnect is there because, like, if minors haven't been in an environment where they have to work in a group of people, then they don't understand like the dynamic there, because like my team at work is over 20 people. I don't talk to some of them. I don't like some of them. And that's kind of how it is. You like find a faction. So obviously in NCT, when there's 23, there's going to be some beef somewhere.
Yep.
But like, it doesn't have to be public, obviously.
I just think about how bad I feel for Taeyong sometimes, because he's the ultimate leader of all of them. And he's like, I have to watch 22 other people aside from myself.
And mediate them and guide them. And if there's beef, like they will come to me and things like that. And you know, but yeah, it's like expectations that the fans put on idols, and then when they like quote unquote break those expectations, because you know, we've talked about this, you know, like I know Jay, you mentioned the K-pop cast, but the K-pop chat, and we've talked about this, how like fans have like an idea of what like this person is like, but like Cynthia also was mentioning, like that's their job. They, you know, that's a persona at times. Like, yeah, it could be 95% true, but that 5% might not be. That's just their persona. And so you don't know that 5%. So when they do something that is quote unquote not them, then people will get mad. But in reality, like what I always say is like, we don't know these idols fully. Whatever they show us is whatever they want to show us. And if it's true, it could be super genuine and you know, it's true, but they might be hiding that 1% that it's just for them. And it's not our business to be trying to pry that out of them, you know, like if they want to keep that to themselves, and that's what they'll do. Like, and we have no say and what they want to show us or what they do not want to show us.
Yeah, because they show us a certain side of them. And like Carolina said, it's not like, I'm not saying like they're faking their persona or anything, but like it's definitely like your customer service voice to an extent, you know? And yeah, they do share things about their personal lives, and that's great, but they should be able to share what they want when they want. So if they don't want to share something about their personal life, that's perfectly fine. And you can still enjoy that. Like a prime example is Jin from BTS. I know next to nothing about this man's personal life, and I respect that. And you know what? I still love Jin. I love him. He's my cover member, and I always enjoy any content that he puts out. I love it. Does that mean I have to know everything about him? No, because you know what? When he gets on camera, he is just super entertaining, and I appreciate that and love that about him. And I don't need to know what he does on the day-to-day life. That's fine.
We could probably guess that he's either sleeping or playing games though.
Yeah, that's very true.
We could probably guess that it's either one of those, because that's what he loves to do.
Oh yeah,
he's gone on interviews him. So it's just like we could probably guess that, but obviously again, we really don't know. Like most recently, BTS at Harry Styles over the weekend, right?
Oh my god,
so cute. Like it was so cool to see them have fun and just enjoy. And then like, you know, there's conversations, oh, where's the other three? It's like, you're asking where the introvert line is?
Where do you think they are? They're doing whatever the fuck they want.
It's like whatever they want. And they don't have to go, just because certain members are going to a certain thing, they don't all have to come. No, they're all doing their own thing. So it's just like,
and you know, that content is content that I love. Like the things, like they were out there drinking hand, vibing, dancing, living their best lives, and that's content that I absolutely love. But I also understand, because like, you know, people might be like, oh, like they should have recorded this and like posted about it. I'm like, no, like not everything needs to be posted. They literally went to a concert just to have a good time because they wanted to go to it. There's no reason why they need to make it a work thing. Like that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say about being like older, like an older fan, I feel like the friendships that we do make in K-pop are literal friendships. Like I talk to like my older stan friends about life. Like I think at a certain point it's like less about like you met for K-pop, but you bonded because of life. And like I complain to some of my older stan friends about like work, about life. I have a friend who's an NCT stan who has a child, and she's like, look, yo, like my kid's been crying for like 3 hours and I'm like dying. I need to talk to someone. And you know, you bond over just life things in general. So I think the bonds I have with like my older K-pop stan friends are like lifetime ones. Like I don't think even after K-pop is over that I'll ever stop being friends with some people. So I think for being an older stan, that's my favorite thing, because I know as a younger stan, I've met people that have just completely fallen out of my life. But as I get older, like you bond with older stans on a different level now. It's not just all about like K-pop or all about standing this one person.
Yes.
You're like, you're my life friend now. Like you're one of my best friends. Like there's people I've met through K-pop that I consider some of my best friends. Yeah. So
it's true. And I feel like it's just because you have that relatable thing. I feel like when you're younger, you're more like your interests obviously like change quicker, and maybe you have like more falling outs with people.
Yeah.
It's like how I think about it, it's like in high school. Like if you were when you were in high school, you had people that you talked to every day, but after high school, you never contacted. So it was just like you're friends with them because you're there at that moment. You see them every day and they're constantly in your life. But once you take that factor out, well, do I really want to be friends with them? No. So I feel like when, you know, we're older and like Kat said, like we think about more like life related things, and if we bond with somebody over something like that, then you have like a bigger connection. It's not just like, hey, it's K-pop. Like, you know, we have like a group chat of people that it's like they're just all older, and we just talk about like, yes, it was for like, you know, we made it for like Head in the Clouds for the concert. But even after that, like we just use it to talk, because every time we go in there and be like, yeah, like, did you see this? Like, am I the only one that thinks that this isn't like a big deal? And we're just like, no, like it's not. Like the youth are making it a big deal.
Kids are fighting.
Yeah, like we're just there like, LOL, the kids are fighting again. So, but I think it's that. I feel like, you know, when you're younger, you kind of like, your interests are more like faster. You pick up something, maybe drop it quicker. And once you don't have that like common denominator with some people, then they're just like, well, we can't be friends because you don't like this, like also. But when you're older, you understand that everybody's like, we all have different tastes, we all have different likings, so it's okay if you like this thing and I don't, like, but we'll still be besties.
Yeah. And also just another thing to piggy off of that, you know, in the mindset of being a younger fan, I know I was guilty of doing this at one point when I first got into it, but now I've grown, obviously. But being in that mentality of everything's a competition. Oh, you like the same bias as I do, we can't be friends, you know, stuff like that. And just like realize it's like, it's not that deep. Like whoever you want, it doesn't matter, because once you go to a concert, girl, there's like about 100 more people with the same bias as you.
Exactly.
You know, it's just like, you want to fight all of them, be my guest, but at the same time, it's not that deep. So it's just like, younger fans, I see it happen. I was guilty of it when I was a younger fan too, where I was just like, dude, that's my bias, that's my person, you know. But at the same time, it's like, wait, hold up, like who you like, you know.
Yeah.
Who am I to get in the way of somebody else liking the same member as me?
Exactly. I feel like something that I also did when I was younger is kind of just like the pushing of groups into people. They're like, it's just like, why don't you like this group? Like you're like, you're lame for not liking this group. You're this and that. But obviously, as you grow, you're just like, again, everybody has different likes. So at that point, I feel maybe that's why now we still get like so many like fan wars and things like that, and it's because of that mentality. And again, that's just, it comes with, I guess, your age. So and like, what, obviously, like, we don't mean every younger fan is doing this. Like, we're just saying that
there are older people who do it too.
That too. And like, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, that could be a thing, that's why it fuels so many like fan wars like that we're seeing now, versus like back then nobody really cared.
Yeah,
there were still fan wars
thing.
But yeah,
it's just like you could avoid them easier, I feel like.
Now they're like in your face. Like, but I will say though, I know this happened a couple months ago, but somebody was just like, shut up, like, back in the day, like the fights were way worse, and people like here, like they were just like, no, they weren't. Now it's worse. And I was just like, listen, I know that during the HOT and sketchy days, people were out there with knives, like fighting. Okay.
Yeah, no, those girls
on
were
the streets.
those girls were fighting each other.
Dude,
like,
the first gen, some of those first gen people were out of their fucking minds. Some of the weirdest, like, what's the word? The scary fans. Sassans. Yeah, some of them were out of their fucking minds. Like, I haven't heard stories as bad as the ones I've heard for like TVXQ and stuff.
Oh yeah. Like, I think that's what a lot of younger fans like. Are there Sassans now? Yes. But they weren't like the Sassans back then.
They're not sending like period blood letters anymore.
Oh my god, no.
They're not like poisoning their members.
God.
That too, you know? So that's why, like, I remember when this came up on the timeline, and like, obviously, you know, the younger kids are just like, no, like now it's so much worse, like social media and this, and somebody was just like, no, you don't know what it's like to just be walking and minding your business and somebody come up to you and start just like hitting you. Like back then it was on site. Here you're hiding behind a computer screen.
Exactly.
I don't understand wanting to argue about what is worse either. That's
right.
I feel like as part of a maturity thing is like wanting, when you're younger, you want to be right. You want to be like it. But it's like once you're older, you just like don't give a fuck because like life is hard enough. I don't want to start more fights.
Seriously,
I'm tired.
Let me listen to Ring Ding Dong in peace.
Exactly.
Literally, forget one of the funniest things I ever read was a member of HOT. I don't remember who it was talking about how he went to a bar with a member of Sikis and like there was a fan war like right down the street of their fans fighting, but they were like drinking together like two blocks away. And I'm like, that's crazy to think that they just saw their fans fighting and they were like, okay, you want to go to the bar? Yeah. Like that's wild to me that y'all are fighting while your faves are literally like drinking together. Like that's crazy.
And now it's just like you won't even catch this happening. You might sometimes, but you won't catch that happening as often now because people are there some people who are just like, no, square up, like actually like you have something to say, do it like here. But there's also people who are just like, I'm not actually going to do that. I backtrack everything I said. I'll just stick to hiding behind the screen. I was just like,
yep.
Pick your fights wisely.
That's true.
Just pick your fights wisely because you never know who's behind that screen and that person might be bigger than you and might actually beat your butt. So I just
might be unhinged. You never know.
Exactly.
It might be the 13th
know.
reason. And then like it's over for you.
You're like, Jungkook's not the best vocalist.
Time to fight, man. But but I enjoy like anytime somebody comes at us and it's just like, oh my god, you're old, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, like are we stating facts? Like, okay, like yes, I am my late 20s. Okay, what else are you saying?
You know who else is in their late 20s? BTS.
Yeah, that's
I'm old, but I'm gonna be the chick that runs into BTS at a bar, and you're gonna be the one that's sitting outside waiting for them to come out. Just remember that.
Just remember that part right there.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, my knees may not be the same anymore, but I still hang to an extent.
Exactly.
A valid ID. That's
exactly.
I have a valid ID. I can drive wherever I want to.
I can go where you can't.
Yep.
I was like, you can't get into that club.
I can.
I can.
You haven't racked up these points on this travel credit card. I sure have, though.
That's true.
I was like, I can afford to go to Korea. Can you? Without asking?
Didn't think so. Dig it.
Her.
I was just like, and you know what? You can't even go on a flight unaccompanied if you're a minor anyway.
Oh, that's
You
right.
need that little unaccompanied minor tag that they put on you.
Exactly. She's like, you still have to have a babysitter on that flight, to be honest. You still have to sit next to a flight attendant. So
So what now?
Anyways.
Who's winning here?
But of course, Are there some young fans out there who are really nice?
They're great.
They're great. They're like, it's nice to have like younger fans also come up to us like, I don't understand this. Help me. You know, we're just saying there are quite a few bad apples in there that kind of tend to ruin the experience from time to time, and this is why we're talking about it. And even then, so what if we're old?
So what? The thing is that the thing that I'm like just baffles me is that they are all going to get to our age. Like nobody is exempt from getting older, sadly, right? Like that's life. So you're telling me when you get to our age, you're just gonna be like, okay, yeah, no, like I need to be all business. I can't like anything. I need to throw away all of my K-pop albums. I will not go to concerts. I will not. No, like, come on, you evolve with yourself. You know, we went from what, like Jonas Brothers to like One Direction, 5 Seconds of Summer, and K-pop, and like all this stuff. Like, you evolve with your likes. Just because you get older, that maybe means that, you know, I don't listen to the Jonas Brothers as much anymore. But do they still have like a place in my heart? Heck yeah. But so you'll do the same thing. Now it could be that you are like a big BTS fan, but in 5-10 years, you'll be like, wow, like BTS was a really good point in my life, but now I like this other group. Like, it's just, they will all get to this point too. So
your interests don't go away though either, because I mean, I still watch Digimon stuff.
Right, same.
I play Animal Crossing. I love that. Okay. Like, they don't just go away. And I feel like some fans also, unfortunately, feel like that they do have to quote unquote grow up out of it. Like, I don't think that you have to grow up for your interest. I definitely think that you eventually kind of find like a balance per se. Because like, you know, you as you get older, you realize like, hey, like life it's a marathon. It's a marathon. It's not a race. And you find that you have to balance like work with like social life and also your interests and hobbies. And that's what they are. Like, they're an interest and they're there to like help you pass time and enjoy life and stuff like that. So you find that balance eventually, but I don't think you have to like grow up per se out of it. So
look,
other hats, don't listen to them.
My K-pop albums are gonna be like my grandpa's stamp collection. They're family heirlooms. Okay, that's just gonna be passed down to generation to generation. My All Signed Vix album, that's a family heirloom. That's staying in my family for at least 100 years. Okay, like my K-pop signed albums are now for my children. Okay, they're gonna be making money. My great grandchildren, you're welcome if you ever listen to this, because that Vix album's gonna be worth something. I promise you.
Exactly. Well, we had so much fun talking with Not Your Average Fangirls. Thank you so much for being here. We definitely have to get on another episode because I know we could talk about a lot more things. So many things. So just wanted to leave it up there for you all. Like, one last plug, whatever, your own social medias, if you have any. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Any last words?
Well, thank you so much for having us. We had so much fun. This was really fun to talk about. We were really excited about this collaboration because I know that we've been trying to make it happen for a long time. So again, thank you. But yeah, just for us, I mean, my social media is @HollaItScaro. So it's HOLLAITSCARO. But you can just find us all on @NYAFangirls. And check us out. Again, we post every Tuesday unless we specify that, you know, we got some technical issues or something, and it'll be posted another day. And check us on YouTube because we do reactions Monday through Friday, pretty much posting. So
if you just look at NYA Fangirls, all of our separate social medias will be on there. We're very active in Stan Twitter, so
yeah.
Hey.
The Krazecast is available on all platforms, so do give us a follow and leave us a rating and review. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. All of our podcast episodes are on there, so you can catch up on those.
We're good to go. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.